Gold tests all-time high on Thursday after Trump issues separate auto tariffs. Austria manufacturing downturn continues in March.
Mexico trade balance SA increased to $2.69 baht in February from previous on 0.423 BDR. Brazil mid-month inflation came in at 0.64% below forecasts, 0.7% in March.
Morning bid, auto tariffs jumped the gun.
Forex Live European FX News Wrap. Dollar mixed. Gold edges higher as risk stays cautious. EU says, preparing response to auto tariffs, but no firm timing as of yet.
A price stop limits your losses, but have you considered a time stop?
Winnebago stock rises as Q2 revenue tops expectations and loss narrows.
CAC 40 down more than 0.5% as tariff worries weigh.
Eyes on U.S. initial jobless claims and U.S. trade balance numbers at the bottom of the hour. EU Commission. EU preparing response to new import tariffs announced by U.S.
U.S. dollar flat amidst more tariff uncertainty ahead of GDP.
Exclusive energy trader Vitol eyes $3 billion sale of U.S. shale producer, sources say. Oil steadies near one-month high as investors assess renewed trade war risks.
All right, here we go. 16 seconds. All right, wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. GDP's been falling 2.4. Oh, it's a little better than expected. So I already did this analysis for everybody. I popped it into the members only chat, which you can then zoom in. And if it's greater than in the past on the 12, right, over the next 12 hours, 80% of the time, euro dollar has fallen. Doesn't mean it will fall, doesn't mean it's predicting the future, just saying in the past, that's what it has done. Royal. So we'll see. Here we are on the longer time frame. Okay, longer time frame. And up means down if you're a bear. This would be standard role reversal type scenario. Okay. And remember, it's over 12 hours, not 12 minutes, over 12 hours, 80% of the time. It ended lower than where we started this scan. Oh, okay. Well, Wayne, I was asked, how does it come to that conclusion? Okay. So if it comes out greater than 2.3, which it did, show me the scenario. Okay. Well, December 19th, it was greater than expected. Euro dollar fell and closed lower 12 hours later. Back in March 28th, it went up for a couple of hours and then came back down and closed lower 12 hours later. June 29th, it came out 0.6 greater than expected. And the euro dollar dropped like a ton of bricks, had a little bounce, roll reversal, and closed lower 12 hours later. Back in December 22nd, 2022, 22/12/22. Okay, it came out 0.3% greater than expected. And it dropped and then closed lower 12 hours later. You get it? So I don't know what this means for the future, but that's what's happened in the past. I know, right? let's look at all the majors. All the majors and all the yen. Let's do that. I don't want Swiss Euro. Yeah, Euro Swissy, yen, and dollar. Very easy. Sure. Good enough. And what do I want? Yeah, I guess show me everything. That's sure, sure. Show me everything.
United States personal consumption expenditures prices QOQ in line with forecasts 2.4% in 4Q.
United States gross domestic product price index below forecasts 2.4% in 4Q, actual 2.3%.
United States personal consumption expenditures prices QOQ below forecasts 2.4% in 4Q, actual 2.3%.
United States continuing jobless claims came in at 1.856 million, below forecasts 1.9 million in March 14th. United States initial jobless claims 4-week average declined to 224K in March 21 from previous 227K. United States wholesale inventories came in at 0.3%, below expectations 0.4% in February. The euro US dollar and the pound US dollar are higher to start the new day. The US dollar yen is also higher. Cool. So that wasn't a summary. That's all the news that's come out in the last 1 or 2 minutes. That's a lot of headlines. Yeah, well, this was important. Also, in one of the headlines, they were talking about personal consumption. It's not necessarily PCE, but PCE is derived from GDP because GDP is consumption, PCE, consumption, investment, government spending. And then stuff we buy from foreigners and stuff we sell. So the C is personal consumption, so to speak. Yep. So let's say I want to sell yen, sell dollar, sell Swiss. So the question is, right here, right now, today, are there opportunities or threats? And maybe I trade today, maybe I don't. I'm going to go with the bias. And so either way, I will know, is it a good opportunity? Is it a mediocre opportunity? Or is there no opportunity at all? So you can have a sideways moving market. I'm like, I'd rather it be trendy. So anything with the yen, up. Okay? Anything with the Swissy, up, for example. That's what I'm looking for. And then what about dollar? Well, I'd like to sell dollar, so most things would be up, but USD CAD would be the other way around, right? Because denominator versus numerator. All right, so we're looking at nothing but patterns. These are just patterns that may be forming. Maybe they come to fruition, maybe they don't. Okay. Now, on the other tab, on the markets tab, there's something called scalping, and it looks very similar to that. The difference is the patterns have formed. The ones we're looking at have not formed. They are potentially formed. So it's sort of ahead of the curve. The scalping ones have actually formed, and now you're doing like continuations, right? And that's why we would know, like, that's why we're able to say, only show me patterns that are in play that have a probability of success in the past, right? Past performance of 75% greater, because they've already formed and we remember all of the times they have formed. And so how many times in the past, what percentage have they worked? And so out of 1,000 trades, 750 seem to have done exactly what you'd expect it to do, meaning the next leg would be up or down as predicted 75%. Oh, well, okay. But these are ahead of the curve, right? And so it's like this might be breaking, and if so, buy a dip. But it's not bearish. Okay, Aussie dollar would like to buy it. This is a 4-hour chart. This is just showing us where resistance is. So maybe we break higher, but I wouldn't call this an uptrend, would you? No. And this is a potential risk. But if we start to make higher highs again, then this would change from resistance emerging to suddenly uptrend, up channel, or something like that, right? So is this an opportunity? No, it's actually a threat. It's like, look, resistance is emerging. You were notified 40 minutes ago. Oh, well, that's very helpful. Kiwi dollar, also resistance emerging. So you might want to buy Kiwi dollar, but you're going to have a challenge on the higher time frame. Maybe you skippity scalp and pick up that little arrow and make 15, 20 pips maybe. Or you buy
U.S.
it,
trade
jam your
deficit
stop,
narrowed slightly after hitting record in prior month.
or you skip it. Okay, same thing, resistance breakout. We seem to have broken above a key level of resistance. So the next thing would be buy a dip and let it rally to a new higher high. So it noticed before that resistance was coming at 162.68, and then we broke through it. So it's now let it break and then buy the dip. So that might be later today. Maybe London close. Pound dollar. Okay, again, resistance. So you could scalp up and take profit, or you can just let it be. That doesn't look like a good trend to me. I'm a trend trader. Okay. Okay, pound Swissy, we want up, but there's resistance above it. See, why is this important? If I'm a bull, I don't buy at resistance. I buy at support. So in the future, if we break above resistance, it's definitely not bearish. So then the next step for me as a bull is to have it pull back and resistance become support. So these lines that are resistance emerging become support emerging later in your mind. They are fighting. Okay, so anyways, ascending triangle, bullish on a 4-hour chart. Cool. Breakout, pullback, good. These are opportunities. USD Kitty Cat, we actually want this one to come down. So this is bearish with an opportunity. That's also good. Euro Yen, okay. Maybe a breakout pullback opportunity. Nice. So do you buy it now? No, but maybe later. Put it on your maybe later today, maybe tomorrow list. You should be writing all of this down. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do today. By the way, we met today a little early. Normally these live streams are at 9:30. There's a there's a method to this madness. I actually meet with the team at 7 because this is the time of day you should be doing this, is at 7, not 9, not 10 a.m. So you should have gone through this process already at 7 in the morning, written all the things down that you're interested in trading, and then going through your charts and doing technical analysis and looking for opportunities to enter in your fundamental bias as a macroeconomic trend trader, which includes scalping, spot trading, day trading, swing trading, position trading, carry trading. Okay. Yeah, you should be well done, and maybe even already, if you're like a market open trader, you're plausibly done at that point, right? You should be really, the London lunch is the opportunity for an American. This is great for those that have jobs. Imagine around 6 or 7 in the morning, you're placing your trade, and then you go to your job. That's great. Now you're like, well, that's nice, Wayne, but I don't know what to trade between 6 and 7 in the morning, or between 6 and 8 in the morning. I don't know what to trade. TRADARS helps you with all of that analytically, quantitatively, mathematically, statistically, psychologically. Okay, pound yen, I want to be a bull. Okay, great. Let it break, catch the pullback. Oh, I think we did this. Yeah. Sell that. Okay, let that break, let catch the pullback. Yeah, okay, so Sky Killer does front running Europe, and that makes sense to me too. So if I'm trading the London, if I'm trading London Open, my trades are usually in at 1:30 a.m. Eastern, and it opens at 3 a.m. my time. So 90 minutes before the open, yeah, that's about right for me. So I agree with you, Sky Killer. Yep. It's those that listen. Euro US dollar recovers further while investors ignore potential US Eurozone tariff war. US GDP jumps slightly more than previously estimated in Q4.
U.S. initial jobless claims dropped a tad to 234K last week. U.S. weekly jobless claims slightly lower.
Yeah, so it's the gurus that teach things like the London breakout. They're like, after the fact, after it's already happened, then do this, that, and the other thing. And for some reason, people just don't understand that that doesn't make any sense. You should be the one that made the decision before it happened, not react after. Okay? Most of the bananas have been picked out of the tree by then. Yeah, yeah. CAD yen up, and then put that down as is there resistance up there? We should take a look. Euro dollar, I want up, and I could scalp this to resistance if I was going to scalp, because A, I'm a bull, but B, what we're doing is it's a breakout on this level, isn't it? So the next scenario, and this is what TRADARS is highlighting for you. Next scenario is probably like this, or let me do this in green, or this. It comes down to your confidence and your bias, right? Richard says it's more Forex traders in London and Japan than the United States. No, that's not true. It would go London, New York, Tokyo. But even then, Tokyo has been overcome by Shanghai. So really, if I were to argue, Richard, I don't have data to prove it, but I could probably get it. The order would be London, New York, Shanghai in terms of volume. Okay? In my humble opinion. Euro yen. Okay, we broke through a key level of resistance. So if you're a bull, you buy, right? No, no, no. You don't buy high. So if we just broke through, then what you want to do is either on this resistance line, which is now support, or this one, in the future, which means maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, that's your plan if you're a bull. Yeah, true. Sky Killer would be true. Yeah. U.S. stock exchanges, I would believe, would have higher volume. Okay. By the way, are you guys liking this? Going through this of me just throwing down, I have an opinion. Maybe you disagree with me, but it's the process. You're like, why is he selling dollar? Why isn't he buying dollar? Well, at least you see the process of it. Yeah, I flipped a coin. Okay, triangle. This is non-directional because there's no higher high, nor is there a lower low. So it's not an uptrend. It's not a downtrend. But we just noticed a breakout pullback, and now we might be getting continuation. Let me get that red color back. This may be continuing now. The green line is dead and becomes this green line. You see? Mike's like tons. Right on. So it says, hold your horses, let it break out. This is a trap and break, except trap and breaks are like this, where price is going from bottom to top to bottom to top to bottom, and then breakout pullback. But you don't know, it could be a breakout pullback this way. So you're trap, let it break, and then catch the pullback. That's why I call it trap and break. But now the trap and break is this way. So if it decides to break this way, and you're also fundamentally a bull, then you have the permission to take that. Okay? Okay. This is not now, Richard. This could be later today, tomorrow. And these are patterns too. So by the way, if there's a pattern on a 15-minute chart and a pattern on an hourly chart, they're both correct. You need to separate the time frames that you're trading. You have to have the proper expectations for both. So
Trump drives trade war fears as auto tariffs pound allies. UBS cuts 2025 alumina price forecast on supply surge.
Cool. So if I'm a bull already, then either now, so let's really pick on this. There's two ways to play in it depending on your aggressiveness or whether you're going to scalp. So you can scalp too. Here it is. Okay, there's two things that you could do here. The most conservative and preferable, let's say, is that we go up to this green box, and then I'm going to look left. I'll do this in green, yes. And I'm going to look for this, or this, or fib the whole thing as support. So then I eyeball it and say 108. All right, cool. So it's going to go up to around 108.20 to 108.50. Great. And then it's going to come back. Oops, I wanted that in black. Okay, then it's going to come back around 108, and then I'm going to buy it around 108. That's what this pattern is. So I have to ask what time frame, and does it fit in the other time frames? Am I going to be long-term long or short-term long? Well, you need multiple time frames for that. So I could be long-term long based on this going up for 3 months. But this is likely to outline what's most likely to happen in the next 3 hours. So the preferable way would be let it break, go up to 108.25, have it come back to 108 and buy it. But that's more of a day trade. Well, what about the scalper? Use the moving average, bro. And what you want to do is break out, pull back, and now you're up to here. Cool. You can do that too if you're a scalper. So you buy it at, let's say the dip at 107.80, and there's 40 pips, maybe 80 pips, 70 pips. Somewhere between 40 and 70 pips as a scalp. And then you know to take profit, because then the most likely next move would be down either to the future moving average, which will move from here to here, or this roll reversal zone around the cycle level of 108, in which the swing traders are going to buy. But for you, since you're a scalper, you scalped it here, took your 50 pips, let it pull back, and then you buy it again and take out another 50 pips. And now you're done for the day. You got 2 trades on this one asset in one trading session between New York Open and London Close. Bravo! Bravissimo! Oh my God, that's beautiful. I love it. Oh, dang, that DJ made my day. Like the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. He's the maker, the breaker, and the... Yeah. Sorry, I just get all giddy. I can't restrain myself. Yeah. Okay, pound. Let's break it down. Oops. Pound. I'll do the patterns in black. Okay. Delete. Okay. Pound has been bearish. It might be breaking that channel and could go as high as previous resistance. So you could scalp it, or you could let it break, head up there, and then buy a dip. Okay? And very often it's usually the same price. But you should be aware, if you buy it, I guess I have to do it. Look, you could buy it here, or you can buy it here. You're like, Wayne, that's the same price. I know. So you can scalp it, but you should also know a high probability of it coming down again. I just saw another one. Okay. Cool. So a high probability of, if you get to resistance somewhere around that line, high probability of it returning. So if you didn't know it was a scalp, you get knocked out of break even, and then you cry a river. Okay? But if you knew it was a scalp, you'd take profit. So where's the swing or the day trade? Well, it comes back to your first entry. Okay? So let me ask you, and I'm serious. How many times have you seen you enter a decent trade, you're profitable for a while, it comes all the way back, knocks you out at break even, and then continues without
Euro
you.
US dollar price forecast. Tepid buying amid fresh risk aversion.
How many people have done that a, 100 times or more? I want you to actually type it in. It's a serious question because I'm talking to your subconscious. So I want you to think about it and type it out. Yeah, perfected it, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got to fix that, right? If you're going to take helicopters from the beaches of Cape Town to the wine country, you need to fix that, because if you can fix that problem, you probably have a business that you can raise money for. We call that a Forex fund. So it happens to everybody. The thing is, I'm trying to get you to recognize when to scalp and when to swing. I want you to scalp, spot, swing, and carry. Okay? So the first one, you take profit. The second one, you hold. Or, because you anticipate the pullback, the first one you enter and you don't jam your stop because you expect it to come back. And you're like, that's fine. Because your trade plan looks like this. So you're like, yeah, it's going to come back. So, I wouldn't enter here, but I still would enter here. But the thing is, now you have a better understanding of, well, first of all, these patterns that TRADARS is pointing out to you, but also how to kind of incorporate it into, the, the day, into the day. You're like, yeah, I'm going to open this position with the scalp. Okay. And this is the plan. And you're like, cool. So you at least are planning on it reversing. No, I've already done all that, really. Yeah, sorry, that I guess I didn't cover it here today. See, I do this like hours ago, so I, I do my analysis so often that I forget when I did what. But I can go through it. But in my mind, I've already done it, and so I'm making decisions like I only sell dollars. Why? Macro. Now, is that working for today? No, today is a risk-off day. But we already know that because yesterday was. But what if things change? What if it becomes a risk-on day? Well, then I'm ready before it's happened. And so I'm analyzing technically now, is it likely to turn bullish? Are we likely to feel more confident? Are we likely to find out that the tariffs that are coming April 2nd and all the threats that Trump's making right now, maybe it's not that big of a deal? Maybe people freaked out a little bit about it. Cool. Well, then that was an opportunity for me to buy a dip. So is that what's going to happen now? I don't know, but this is why you use stop loss. So I'll let it ride. Just another homicide. Pound yen looks like we broke out. So there's two trade potentials, right? Scalp it north or let it come back and swing it north. What about sell? No, that's not what this is showing you. Okay, that's not what that is showing you at all. Euro dollar, okay, euro dollar. Somebody pointed out earlier that in the scalping tool, it was contradicting what I was highlighting. Who was it? Was it Richard? So this is kind of like, again, what do you do if you're a bull, but you see a bearish pattern? You look for something like this. So this is definitely not bullish. This is definitely bearish. Okay. Okay. So why is it saying, why does it have the green arrow up? Well, something is happening in this down pattern that suggests there's a higher probability that we suddenly go up to this green zone. It's not really an opportunity. It's a threat to the bears. This is not for the bulls. Now, okay, this is for the bears, and they're like, "Hey, bears, there's a threat."
U.S. GDP expands by 2% in Q4 versus 2.3% in previous estimate. Russia central bank reserves dollar rose from previous 641.9 to 650.4.
Futures pointing to roughly flat open on Wall Street.
Right? So it's saying, hey, bears, there's a threat in the marketplace. So in theory, you could scalp this to the upside. You could. Scalping's fine. Is there a lot of pips in it? 76, 40, 50 pips in that little move, potentially. Okay. But I'm a trend trader, not a scalper per se. But if you're a scalper, you could try to turn that threat into a reality, that the down channel is broken. Cool. The next thing that I would do if I were me is I would highlight all of this and maybe even use that little moving average. Let me highlight that. Okay. And so I would say if Richard takes the scalp and he's successful, then Wayne wants to buy the dip and follow on Richard's lead. Or I can do both. So let me zoom in so you can see that a little better. Okay. So the only thing that TRADARS noticed is there's a down channel. And we seem, at least temporarily, have challenged the authority of the down channel. Remember that in a down channel, the top line is the main line. So if that breaks, that's a real threat. Now, of course, it could still fall. But notice, if you were to use Fibonacci, how do you feel about a 786 and potentially a 100% pullback? You're not supposed to have 100% pullback. So you're probably going to get a form of Gartley, huh? Some variation of that, right? So it noticed that it might be breaking and that you might want to consider that, or both. Scalp, okay? Let's say 25 to 50 pips, swing 50 to 100. This is why you want your fundamentals behind this. And of course, you would never recognize this unless you were already a bull. If you don't know you're a bull, then you're always just kind of chasing patterns. All right. The machine isn't giving trade signals. You have to really grab a hold of that. This is not telling you what to do. Yeah. This is not telling you what to do. So if you don't want to know, if you don't want to be the boss, just pay somebody else that can make decisions for you. This machine's not going to do it. This is recognizing patterns. You still need to know how to trade. You need to know trends. You need to know fundamentals, right? Macroeconomics. You need to know how to scalp, how to spot, how to swing. Is this going to go up for 4 hours or 4 weeks? I have trade plans based on things moving for 12 weeks. But if you don't know that, then how do you know whether this is a scalp, a swing, or a position? You would never know. You just don't know what you're doing. And that would frustrate me. So now that it's all possible now, it's all possible. Okay? You have to trade this way, in my humble opinion. That's why I built it. If you don't trade this way, you don't have a chance. In my humble opinion. You're not that lucky. In fact, we're trying to remove all the luck out of trading. So with good data and a good sample size, meaning if you only make 2 trades a day, statistically, you could be right or wrong a lot, and it'd be very hard to discern any pattern in that. And if you jam your stop really quickly because you're afraid when you trade, and if you don't know what's going on, you're probably afraid. I don't think we could even discern your strengths and weaknesses, because your winners you probably get stopped out of, and your losers you get stopped out of. Right? So you don't know if you have any strengths. You've never even let the trade move. You get knocked out because a headline came out and it dropped 20 pips and knocked you out. Dude, 20 pips and you got knocked out? So you don't know your strengths. You don't know your weaknesses. You never give your trades chances. You trade afraid because you're in the dark. Dude, that's not...
Pound sterling outperforms US dollar despite Trump's auto tariffs.
ECB's to Guindo sell. We are optimistic with regard to inflation.
US dollar Swiss franc stalls at key 0.8848 resistance as sellers hold the line.
Cool. See that? It's reading charts. Cool. So silver's hot to go today. Copper's down. Trump's talking about tariffs on copper. European stocks are down. So most of this is risk off with yields rising. Not good stuff. So mediocrity right now. Yeah, I just told you that coming up to a psych level on Swissy. Kind of cool. Yeah. Just looking at all the emails I get. So I've forgotten to move this over to TRADARS, but we have a lot of cool emails that get sent to some people that were original subscribers back in the day. But like, some people are getting emails like this. This just occurred. 3 hours ago, and here's one 45 minutes ago. Euro yen. Okay, the following coinciding trade setups have been identified and forecast a similar potential market move. So it's looking at multiple time frames, multiple patterns that all suggest the same thing, and should produce at least a 20 pip move. At least, not a 20 pip move, minimum 20 pip move. The key level and chart pattern were at most 5 candles apart the time of identification. So they all need to be bullish, all need to produce at least 20 pips or more in potential move, and they all occurred nearly the same time. And on a 4-hour, we have this triangle breakout. Cool. Here we have resistance breakout on the hourly. Here we have a resistance breakout on the 30. And again on the 4-hour, which is a different pattern here, we have a break of a flag. So this says up, that says up, that says up, that says up, and they all occurred at the same time on different time frames for different reasons. This pattern here says, because this is actually a scalping pattern now, because it has broken, 72.2% chance of 40 pips or more. Wow, dude. So I unfortunately, I haven't put that in as an option on traders.com yet. Should I move it over? They didn't stop. I got mine 47 minutes ago. Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? Now, another one that I got earlier today as well. Let me show you. Let me pop this out. Okay. This email is doing something completely different. It's watching the scorecard summary. And it's a lot. Okay. It's a lot. Okay. Watching the score. Okay. All right. And it does this twice a day. So 1 hour ago at 7:58 a.m., I was emailed that NASDAQ went from an 8 to a 10. We're more bullish on NASDAQ today than yesterday. And I think yesterday it jumped from a 2 to an 8. Well, now it jumped from an 8 to a 10.
Gold eases on its gains as markets digest Trump's auto tariffs. ECB's DeGuindos. We are optimistic with regard to inflation.
U.S. GDP ticks higher. British pound eyes UK retail sales.
So it increased the employment subcomponent of our NASDAQ scorecard. So it tells you it's now strong bullish. It's NASDAQ. We went from 8 to a 10 because the score was -2 for jobs, and now it's 0 for jobs, which is an increase in 2. And I was alerted by email. Oh my God. Because I may not have noticed by looking at that. Well, that's kind of neat, isn't it? Here it is. NASDAQ is a 10. Yesterday, it was an 8. Now it's a 10. Oh my God. And now I know why. That's kind of a neat trick, isn't it? Cool. And then there's this email that came out. Okay. It told you what's on the calendar today. It showed you what's moving. Euro dollar's moving up. USD yen is moving up. Pound dollar's moving up. USD Swiss franc is moving down. So dollar is weak. Somebody asked me, why am I selling dollar? Okay. Dow, all that kind of stuff. Great. Oil, great, great. So then it gave you a pattern for Google. Meta, Nvidia, Aussie dollar, euro dollar, pound dollar, Kiwi dollar, dollar CAD, dollar Swissy, dollar yen. Now, they just happen to be all dollars. That's not necessarily the case, but obviously something's happening with the dollar. Gave you an overview technically for Bitcoin. Cool. So Bitcoin is supposed to go up. I'm long Bitcoin. Sweet. So over the next 3 days, we should make it to 90,000 based on this rising wedge. Notice it's measuring A to B and therefore B to C. Rising wedge identified March 27th at 4 o'clock in the morning. This pattern is still in the process of forming. Possible bullish price movement towards the resistance of 90,177 within the next 3 days. Okay, support is at 85,800. Cool. Well, that's kind of where I'm long. So this says, yeah, Wayne, we agree with you based on the pattern alone. Remember, it's not predictive. It's just doing pattern. So I think I'm in an okay trade. We'll see, but I have a stop nonetheless. Ethereum, quite different. Okay, S&P 500 could be an interesting bullish day. Okay, if we can get here, then the next dip is going to be good for us. Good, but FTSE's quite different. And crude touching support. And if it does not break through, the next leg is up. If it does break through, the next leg is down. So I'm in at 66, and it's saying, okay, we're at 69.7, right? 69.5. It's a key price level, but it's indeterminate whether it goes up or down from here, but it could go up. All right, so I'm fine. Obviously, 70 was a psych level. Good. So that's a nice email. So all these emails, these 3 emails came out in about the same hour. One was all fundamental, one was all technical, and one is a market update. Should I combine these and then move them over to TRADARS so you can sign up? Yeah. Yeah, so Sky Killer, I think they were all $20 a month each or $19 a month each. So your time has to be valuable. So if it saves you, 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes has to be worth $20. Or if it saves you an hour a day, and you have to be worth at least, right? Yeah. So, but everything's over at QuantBox, so I have to move it over and program it, and so I have to hire my team and all that. Some people, what they did. Oh, is that? See, I don't even remember, dude. Then, but some people paid 200 a year up front. Yeah, I think that's true. I don't remember if it was 300 or 200, but we basically used that money to pay the programmers to develop it.
Learn to invest.
It cost me
Don't
hundreds
overreact
of
to
dollars a
headlines.
month just
The
to send the
market
email.
has a short memory. U.S. natural gas prices slip on warmer weather.
Yeah, because I have software on the server that generates the email. It's not like I'm generating it. So you have to build that. And then you need to feed the beast, even though it's a machine, you have to feed AI. AI costs money, even if it's just an algo. You're like, Wayne, that's not AI, that's an algo. Whatever, dude, you still have to feed the machine. And then that information has to get sent to my email delivery company. And that's just that part is 300 a month. Just the email delivery is 300. So anyways, so the original people, yeah, paid 200 annually, and then I took that and paid the programmers, paid the server people, paid the email delivery people, and now we have it. And then that's that. I haven't looked back. But I forget these things. And so if you want them at TRADARS, and let's say we make them $20 a month, $19 a month, whatever, $29 a month for everything, um, it, let me know. Yeah, let me know. That, yeah, Sky Killer says $29 a month for both. I can honor that. I just have to spend some money to get people to build it, move it over, and all that kind of stuff. But if you want it and willing to subscribe, I can get that done. It's like more like, what do you want me to do? You want that? Look, I've already built it. Um, you should have it if you want. That's what I think. So I think I could do that. I think I could do that in the second quarter, so April, May, June. And then I can move it over. Yeah, it is. So maybe we'll do this. If 10 people are willing to sign up for the annual, so let's say instead of $30 a month, it's 20, so you save money. If 10 people are like, yeah, I'll pay the $200, then I'll take that $2,000 and I'll pay the developers to do everything. So, and now you have it for a year at a discount, and I take the money and I pay the developers. Right? Like, so it's for you, right? No, it doesn't go to my Lambo lease, so I can take Instagram photos of myself on my Lambo. Uh, no, if you want me, I'll do that. That's fair. But you guys have to remind me because I'm gonna forget. Anyways, they're all there. It's all there. It is really good. So now I look at Nasdaq and I already know what to look at. It went up too because of labor went to zero. Oh, look, labor's zero. Well, hell's bells. I feel like I've gone too long. Oh, is the stock market opening? Ooh. Let's take a look. Yeah, let me zip over. Let's do stock. Oh, look, euro dollar came down. Remember the 80% chance of down? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What do you guys think? Was that helpful? In that scenario, with GDP being greater than expected, looking at all other GDPs in the last few years in which the result of the headline was greater than the estimated, then 80% of times in that scenario, euro dollar fell over the course of 12 hours. So the first reaction was up, and then down, 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 up, up, 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 down, 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 down. What do you stink? It's only data. Let's get over to the stock market, though.
US dollar goes nowhere with US GDP hardly moving.
So I analyzed. I still have it open. I analyzed the tech sector of the S&P 500. So you have the S&P 500, and then it's broken down into multiple subsectors. Consumer discretionary, consumer staples, industrial, manufacturing, right? Health, that kind of stuff, right? Okay, great. And so if you were to use that information, I don't know if how much of an impact it has on this. Okay. Okay. But what if the tech component of S&P 500 influences the direction of NASDAQ, which is tech heavy? I would assume there's some sort of relation, right? Did you know 70% of the time in past Aprils, if you only looked at April and you only looked at the subcomponent of technology stocks in the S&P 500, 70% of the time in April, they went up. How would that make you feel emotionally? And now the question is, will that, if that is true, and we do have an up April in technology stocks in the S&P 500, will that influence NASDAQ to go up too? Does NASDAQ have a high potential for up in that case? I don't know. But that's what the data I have is, and now you have to determine its use case. Is that important to you? Are you buying it off the annual central pivot point or not? Are you using seasonality for the second quarter or not? Is this a buy a dip or not? What do you intend to do? What do you intend to do? What do you intend? Oh, well, it's red candle. I sell it. No, fail. If you're a bull, a red candle is an opportunity. Ooh, my hat is being delivered today. Yeah, my hat. I got some cool hats and a cool blazer on the way. I went from no hats but baseball hats to suddenly I have probably 10 felt hats. Oh my God, I'm like a peacock. All right, so there you go. So if you're a bear, this is bearish, isn't it? If you're a bull, this gets interesting. Oh, Denise, you'd love this too. I bought a brown blazer, so a nice brown blazer, right? With like flowers in the pattern. Like, but they're sort of like pastel kind of color. So like the blue is kind of a funky blue, and the reds are kind of a funkier red than normal. Uh, and they're big flowers too. So you're like, wait, that's really something. Now to take it to the next level, the hat, which is a big, beautiful, wide brim, tall hat, and like beautiful felt hat with nice ribbons and feather, but it's that weird, funky blue. Like it's sort of a pastel bluish, greenish kind of bluish, but not teal. It's definitely a blue, but it's a weird blue. But it's the same blue as the flowers on my blazer. And you're like, what
White
the?
House. Some of the tariff numbers will be more conservative than expected.
US dollar Canadian dollar rebounds after failed bearish break as tariff risks add upside pressure.
So, anyways, it'll be obvious it's intentional. And they're like, who the heck? Yeah, who the heck? But whatever. Yeah, but I have fun. Like, part of it, partially, I'm teaching my children. And I've had conversations about this. Like, I tell my daughter, I said, I got this new hat and I got this new blazer. This was about a year and a half ago when I kind of got into this. And I'm like, because what happened is I like to go to premium cigar lounges, premium, and I like live jazz and all that, premium cocktails. Well, in my neck of the woods, that translates into African American, black. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say African. Black. So I go into these places and I'm the only white dude. Cool. And everyone is dressed up and they, suits, hats, and women in sparkly dresses. Like, and white dudes show up in, you know, Crocs and you know, Old Navy cargo shorts. I'm like, oh my God, right? So I'm like, I gotta step up my game. If I'm gonna hang out with this crew, and this crew's cool shit, wearing sunglasses indoors at night. I mean, like, whoa, dude, I need not just to up my game, I need a whole new game. Right? So anyway, I don't know anything about hats, but I get a cool hat, and I got my blazers, so I put them on, you know, and I dress up, and I put my, flexing my fancy watch, just like trying to hang out with these cool guys, right? Right? These cool cats, and then me, white boy from Canada. Um, and so I tell my daughter though, I said, I did all this, but awkward. Like, I really, really feel awkward. I'm dressing in a way that I'm not used to. This is not my MO, but I want to have fun. And I want to hang out with people that are actually cool. They're actually cool, right? Like, this is easy for them, I think. But maybe it's not. Maybe this is something different for them. So I feel really awkward, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to get out of the car and feel stupid. But when I open that front door and walk into the lounge, I'm a peacock. I'm like Mike Tyson getting in the ring. And so I'm like, don't be afraid to be yourself or to try something new. Don't be afraid to laugh at yourself. I said, I'm afraid, but at the same time, I'm laughing at myself. I said, but who knows? Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe people will think it's good for me. They don't know me. They might think this is Wayne. He's a cool dude. I don't know. So I'm like, do it. Don't worry about what other people think. Do it.
And don't be afraid to laugh at yourself and have some fun. I'm putting on an outrageous outfit that is not my normal, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to stand tall while I do it. And so, it's one of those things, right? And so I've been doing this now for a year and a half, putting on these crazy outfits and going out and hanging out with cool people and faking it. I'm just faking that I'm cool with hanging out with really cool people. But I don't know. Maybe they think I'm cool too. I don't know. Yeah, thank you, Mike. As tall as I can. Taller than Tom Cruise, tall. Taller than Brad Pitt, tall. What I mean is with confidence. You walk in, yeah. Harvard teaches you the power pose, right? The Superman pose. So, it's like before a big meeting. Do you remember Wall Street? When he finally gets to meet Gordon Gekko and he takes 1 second and he looks in the mirror and he says, well, a life comes down to a moment. So, it's these things where you do your power pose, right before you open that door and you feel awkward. Okay. You you take a moment and then you're like, I'm strong. And you walk in. There's another movie, Reservoir Dogs, where this guy's an undercover cop and he takes a moment while he's waiting for the bad guys. They pick them up. They're outside and they're like, beep, beep, beep with the car. Let's get going.
U.S. nat gas prices ease 1% to 5-week low on lower demand, ahead of storage report.
And so now he has to jump down there. He has to put his outfit on. He has to get his game on as far as, how he talks and how he walks and his new character because he's pretending to be a bad guy too. He's a cop. And then at the last second, he stops and he says, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. It's like when I walk into those cool clubs and I got my hat on with feathers, right? And I got my jacket on, and I got my big watch and all that kind of stuff. And I know I'm not cool, but I say to myself, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. And when I walk in, as far as they know, I am cool. Cool. So, anyways, yeah, yeah, it's a good thing because if you can handle stress like that, you can handle other kinds of stress. So have no fear. Love life, live large and in charge. That's what I tell my children. Love life, live large, and be in charge. Cool. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average.